Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Marital Universe Season 10 Part 26 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. A figure with crisscrossing black lightning flew over the endless demonic chi sea. Those surrounding demonic chi were eroded wherever he passed. However, each time these demonic chi made contact with the light barrier, it would form a sizzling sound. Two ancient ancestral symbols rotated slowly before they directly vaporized those demonic chi. Within that light barrier, Lin Dong gently shut his eyes. As his mental energy spread, he tried to sense the location of the legendary Darkness Master within this demonic chi sea. However, this probing did not lead to an immediate result. This demonic chi sea was vast. Moreover, the demonic chi permeating within it had also created a relatively big obstruction for Lin Dong. Hence, it was no easy matter to swiftly locate the Darkness Master hidden within. You have yet to reach the devil-suppressing prison. This demonic chi sea is merely something that seeped out from within the devil-suppressing prison. You need to penetrate through the devil sea in order to reach the devil-suppressing prison. Yang slowly reminded Lin Dong after he made some futile actions. Lin Dong was speechless. He clenched his teeth together in the face of this fellow's nonchalant manner. However, all he could do was to grit his teeth together as he rapidly headed deeper into the demonic chi sea. As Lin Dong rapidly shuttled through the devil sea, he also realized that the demonic chi emitted from below was growing increasingly denser the deeper he ventured. Meanwhile, a dark chilliness lingered around him. This caused Lin Dong to be a little fearful. Fortunately, he had the protection of the two great ancestral symbols. Otherwise, it was likely that the demonic chi would have already corroded his mind. It seems like we are about to penetrate through the demonic chi sea. This journey continued for approximately half an hour before Lin Dong's eyes suddenly became focused. He could sense that the demonic chi sea below had showed some signs of discontinuation. However, the density of the demonic chi being emitted from within was becoming increasingly terrifying. Be careful. The devil-suppressing prison is not an ordinary place. Yang immediately reminded him this time around. Meanwhile, his tone became quite grave. This caused Lin Dong's heart to tense up. It turns out he was also extremely wary of the legendary devil-suppressing prison. We are out. Lin Dong stared intently at the churning devil sea in front of him. He let out a soft cry and the light wrapped around his body. Finally, he exited the extremely dense and viscous demonic chi sea. After his body left the sea, his originally blurry sight suddenly became clear. The surrounding devil sea also disappeared at this moment. However, Lin Dong did not care about this at this moment. His eyes looked below before shock slowly emerged on his face. An endless light barrier of darkness appeared in front of Lin Dong and there were dark symbols on it. If one was to look carefully, one would realize that these symbols were similar to that of the Darkness ancestral symbol. In fact, this light barrier seemed to be an enormous formation. Unfortunately, this light barrier currently had some dark cracks on it. As a result, waves of Yumo chi continuously seeped out from within and flowed into the devil sea above. If one's sight penetrated through the black-colored light barrier, one would be able to see densely packed black towers floating within. Many incomparably huge black chains were entwined around each black tower. These chains extended and connected those black towers together. The surface of these black chains were all plastered with ancient symbols and an extremely powerful ripple were being emitted from them. Endless evil demonic chi crazily seeped out from within the towers. However, they would be absorbed by the black chains each time they tried to escape. After which, the ancient symbols flashed before the demonic chi was completely purified. Is this the devil-suppressing prison? Lin Dong was startled as he stared at the dark tower clusters within the dark light barrier, which stretched on endlessly. Each black tower was 10,000 feet in size and he appeared exceptionally tiny as he stood in this place. Moreover, the most frightening thing was the number of towers present. In fact, it was impossible to count all of them. Evidently, there were Yumo being sealed in these black towers. With such a large number of black towers, just how many Yumo were being sealed in this place? Can you imagine just how frightening the ancient world war back then was? Yang spoke in a faint voice. Lin Dong nodded. It's no wonder all the living creatures in this plane had joined forces back then. After all, not a single race could escape when facing such a terrifying invasion. It was fight or die. Just what would happen to this world if a big world war like what had occurred during the ancient times was to happen again? Will they still be able to block that frightening Yimo tribe invasion? It is possible as long as a second symbol ancestor appears. As if he seemed to have read his mind, Yang softly replied. Lin Dong smiled bitterly. A second symbol ancestor? That was no trivial matter. We should look for the darkness master first. Lin Dong sighed softly. After which, his body moved as he carefully approached the dark light barrier. He could detect a relatively frightening energy ripple on it. How do I enter? Lin Dong did not dare to randomly charge in at this moment. If he ended up facing the backlash from the formation, it was likely that he would die for nothing. You possess the strength of an ancestral symbol and can simply enter it. Others, including Yuan Qian, would have difficulties doing so. Yang replied. Lin Dong nodded after hearing this. However, he still cautiously extended his hand and gently touched the dark light barrier. The light barrier formed a ripple and his hand penetrated through it in one shot. Lin Dong sighed in relief after seeing this scene. He moved and entered the dark light barrier. Only after entering the light barrier did Lin Dong discover that the devil-suppressing prison was not a quiet place. There were various sharp howls being occasionally emitted from the many black towers. These howls possessed some eroding properties against one's consciousness. Fortunately, Lin Dong had two great ancestral symbols and the ancestor stone. Hence, there was no need for him to be overly fearful. Some of the chain seems to have been corroded. Lin Dong shot forward as he carefully shuttled through the devil-suppressing prison. Finally, he saw some signs of erosion appearing on the huge chains entwined around some black towers. Ancient symbols covered these towers, dimmed due to the constant erosion, allowing some Yimo Qi to escape from them and slip through the cracks on the dark cover above. The devil-suppressing prison has existed for many years. Additionally, Yuan Qian had broken the energy equilibrium of this place when he was attempting to break into the reincarnation stage. Hence, it allowed the demonic aura to seep out from it. Yang said. Lin Dong nodded before his speed increased. Only after entering this devil-suppressing prison did he realize just how large this place was. In fact, he was unable to see and enter the clusters of Black Tower after flying for nearly half an hour. Huh? Lin Dong frowned as he searched bitterly. Suddenly, he braced his mind. An unusual sound was transmitted into his ear. He immediately turned his head before his pupils shrunk. That was because he saw some black chains entwined around an exceptionally huge black tower suddenly breaking apart. The crashing sound from the chains landing on the ground resounded within the devil-suppressing prison in a deafening manner. The ceiling chains broke. Lin Dong looked at the broken chains, before his scalp turned numb instantly. After which, his body hurriedly rushed forward. Roar? A wild beast-like roar was suddenly emitted from within the black tower as he rushed forward. Immediately, monstrous black fog came sweeping over. It turned into a 10,000 feet large demonic chi python that pounced towards him in a ferocious manner. When Lin Dong felt the evil ripple behind him, his expression changed drastically. It was possible for him to detect a huge, chaotic and fearsome aura within that large demonic chi python. Clearly, it was not formed from a single entity. Instead, it was formed by many powerful Yimo. They had broken through the darkness seal, but their consciousness was still blurry. Nevertheless, this did not prevent them from detecting that hateful ripple from Lin Dong's body. Swoosh! Lin Dong quickly fled while the large demonic chi python followed closely behind. However, it seemed to be quite afraid of the black chains within the devil-suppressing prison. In fact, they would make a detour each time they were about to come into contact with it. This allowed Lin Dong to keep a safe distance away from the python. However, Lin Dong did not rejoice because of this. This was because he could feel that the many chaotic consciousness within the large demonic chi python were gradually disappearing. Instead, an exceptionally evil consciousness took its place. Clearly, they were devouring each other in order to grow. Damn human. Damn ancestral symbols. This devourment finally came to an end. The eyes of the large demonic chi python turned blood red instantly. It stares menacingly at Lin Dong before it suddenly lifted its head to let out a roar. Its speed suddenly soared and it managed to close the distance between the two of them in an instant. Lin Dong was greatly startled upon seeing this. Head left. I have sensed where the Darkness Master is. Yang's voice was transmitted over in the nick of time. Lin Dong quickly rejoiced upon hearing this. His body turned and he rushed towards his left. Faster! Yang urged. Lin Dong shut his mouth tightly before he directly unleashed his speed to the limit. Nonetheless, he could still feel that the evil aura was growing closer. His eyes became ruthless as he flipped his hand and threw a punch. 100 green dragon light symbols rose before turning into a green light dragon that ruthlessly smashed against the large demonic chi python. Bang! A loud sound resounded over the place. However, the large demonic chi python took no damage. Instead, the evil glow within its blood-red eyes became even denser. Damn it! Lin Dong cursed furiously upon seeing this. Meanwhile, he had also given up on fighting head-on. Instead, his body rushed forward. A couple of minutes later, his pupils hardened. He suddenly lifted his head and saw that in the deepest spot, there were countless black chains being extended towards it, before they finally gathered in the middle. Those ancient and huge black chains were all gathered together and they directly formed a black throne. Meanwhile, there was a delicate figure sitting on it. She did not move and it was as though this was the case since the ancient times. Despite this, there was still a frightening ripple that caused the heavens to shake, rippling around her body. Clearly, other than the Darkness Master, one of the 8 ancient masters, who else in this devil-suppressing prison would possess such terrifying strength? I have finally found her. Lin Dong looked at the figure seated on the throne and rejoiced. Be careful. However, Yang quickly issued a reminder just as Lin Dong was about to charge over. Kai? Lin Dong's body came to a sudden halt. Soon after, he saw an ancient black chain suddenly shooting out from the throne. The chain seemed to penetrate through the empty air. In a flash, it appeared in front of Lin Dong and whistled past his ear. Finally, it was accompanied by an indescribable frightening strength as it directly penetrated the large demonic chi python which was chasing him from behind. Ah! The large demonic chi python let out a miserable screech. Who are you? How dare you interrupt my slumber? The moment that large demonic chi python was pierced, the human figure on the throne also slowly opened her eyes, which had been shut for tens of thousands of years. Her eyes were completely black. Amidst that pitch-black coldness was a terrifying earth-shaking pressure. Within the dark and silent depths of devil-suppressing prison, Lin Dong watched as the slim figure slowly opened her ice-cold eyes while his expression became exceptionally grave. At this very moment, he could clearly feel an indescribably frightening aura slowly spreading from the body on the black throne. The aura quickly covered the entire devil-suppressing prison and those countless darkness towers released buzzing sounds. The roars that originally emitted from within them were now trembling and accompanied by fear. The Darkness Master. Her imposing aura was still present after tens of thousands of years, and even the powerful and terrifying Yima would shudder before her. From this, one could tell just how shockingly powerful the 8 great masters from back then were. Is this the aura of the 8 ancient masters? Lin Dong muttered to himself. His eyes contained complicated emotions. Just the Darkness Master alone was already this terrifying. It was really difficult to imagine just what it would be like when the strongest of the 8 ancient masters, the Ice Master, awakened. Who are you? While these complicated feelings swirled in Lin Dong's heart, the slim figure on the throne slowly lowered her head, her ice-cold black eyes pausing on his body. Under her gaze, Lin Dong felt the circulation of Yuan power within his body come to a halt. Elder. Lin Dong cupped his hands together. However, before he could speak, the Darkness Master once again spoke in an icy voice, regardless of who you are, those who try to break into the prison will die. When "die" emerged from the Darkness Master's lips, several huge black chains suddenly pierced out from the void. They were accompanied by overflowing murderous intent as they shot towards Lin Dong with lightning speed. Lin Dong was greatly alarmed when he saw how ruthless the Darkness Master's attack was. His hands curled and two ancient symbols appeared. A flash of black light and a lightning glow came spluttering out, transforming into two light beams that turned into a black lightning light shield in front of him. Swoosh! The black chains mercilessly slammed into the black lightning light shield formed by two ancestral symbols, and light surged on the latter's body. It only lasted for a couple of breaths before it suddenly exploded. In the next instant, the black chains had appeared in front of Lin Dong's forehead under his horrified gaze. However, an ancient stone talisman suddenly flashed and appeared just as the black chains were about to penetrate Lin Dong's forehead, and Yang's hurried voice sounded. Wait! Ch. The chains were a mere finger away from the stone talisman when they came to an abrupt halt. Soon after, they swiftly retracted at a shocking speed. The figure on the throne also suddenly stood up. Her voice now had an additional trace of bewilderment. Yang! You still have such a temper. Yang's body shot out from the ancestral stone. He looked at the Darkness Master on the throne and spoke in a somewhat helpless manner. Lin Dong also recovered at this moment and immediately felt an icy feeling sweep over his back. He had truly felt the threat of death earlier. This Darkness Master had really intended to kill a trespasser like himself. I did not think that you were still alive. The Darkness Master stared at Yang's figure. After which, she slowly sat back down on the throne. Her cold voice finally contained a little bit of life. Yang smiled. He glanced at Lin Dong before heading towards the throne. Lin Dong hesitated for a moment before following. As they approached the throne, Lin Dong finally managed to have a good look of that human figure. It was a lady wearing black-fitting armor. Her long hair poured down from her head and her face was quite exquisite. Pure darkness colored her eyes. It was a darkness that was not evil but felt unusually deep. It was difficult to imagine that the frightening aura, which could cause the entire devil-suppressing prison to tremble, actually emanated from the body of this seemingly weak-looking woman. Why are you here? Who is he? The Darkness Master looked at Yang as she frowned and said. He is the current owner of the ancestral stone. Yang replied. Owner? Not a possessor? What are you doing? The Darkness Master asked in a deep voice. The ancestral stone was the greatest creation of her teacher, Lord Symbol Ancestor. Hence, only the Symbol Ancestor was qualified to be its owner. As for everyone else, even if they managed to obtain it, they could only be a possessor. These two terms might appear similar, but there was a significant difference between them. It's been so many years, rarely have I come across someone who possesses an affinity with the ancestral symbols like Master did. It is not a problem to call him my owner. Yang said. What? The all-along frosty face of the Darkness Master finally revealed a peculiar ripple after hearing these words. Those black eyes truly turned towards Lin Dong for the first time. Oh. Devouring ancestral symbol and thunderbolt ancestral symbol. The Darkness Master thoroughly observed Lin Dong before nodding as she said, this is indeed difficult. The Devouring Master back then had also tried to rely on the Devouring Ancestral symbol to see if it was possible to devour my Darkness Ancestral symbol. However, he failed in the end. The corners of Lin Dong's mouth twitched. It was surprising that even the Devouring Master was unable to devour other ancestral symbols. Looks like the rumors he had heard back then regarding the Devouring Ancestral symbol possessors having the ability to obtain many ancestral symbols was indeed unreliable. Fortunately, he possessed an affinity with the ancestral symbols that even he did not understand too well. Otherwise, it was likely that he would have also ended up failing. I hope you don't believe that he can reach teacher's level just because he has an affinity with the ancestral symbols, do you? The Darkness Master shifted her gaze back to Yang and said in a faint voice. Evidently, she had managed to guess some of Yang's thoughts. After so many years, many superbly talented individuals have come to possess me. However, through my secret observations, I found that only he has an affinity similar to Master's. Yang said. Whatever affinity this is, it is far too insubstantial. Master did not merely rely on such a thing to reach that level. How will we know if we do not try? We do not have many opportunities to try. Moreover, before Master ignited his reincarnation, he gave us a final choice. The Darkness Master slightly lowered her eyes. Her voice was calm and firm. We will do our best to assist Junior Sister. This is because Master has said that she is the one who is most likely to reach that level. Yang was quiet for a moment before he replied, "It is after all good to have another choice." The Darkness Master did not reply to this. She sat on the throne while her body slightly leaned to the side, her hand cupping her cheek as she said, "Do whatever you want. However, I hope that you will help us when the most critical moment comes. I have only just awakened, therefore, I cannot expose myself. Otherwise, I might end up attracting the attention of the Yimo. Elder, the reason we are here today is not to debate about who can reach the level of the symbol ancestor. Presently, the demonic aura of the devil-suppressing prison is seeping into the outside world and endangering the dragon tribe above it. If it is not contained, the position of the devil-suppressing prison will be revealed." Lin Dong's mind gradually calmed down as he listened to the argument between the two. Finally, he slowly said in a soft voice, "Yes, I have already detected it when I awakened." The Darkness Master lazily spoke, "Those fellows are still so useless. They cannot even resolve leaking Yimo Chi. Are those old monsters in their tribe unwilling to act?" She paused and suddenly lowered her head to look at Lin Dong as the corners of her lips lifted slightly. "You are not angered even though I overruled you in such a manner earlier?" Lin Dong's face was serene as he replied, "You are not wrong. Affinity is far too unsubstantial. Even though the ancestral symbols are powerful, they are still external objects. If one is able to reach the level of the symbol ancestor by relying on external factors, it will not be the case where only one person has achieved the level of symbol ancestor after so many years." The expression on the Darkness Master's face seemed to become focused for a moment. Soon after, she stared at Lin Dong with great interest. A moment later, she turned towards Yang and said, "His words are much more convincing than yours. However, compared to him, I still have more faith in Junior Sister." Yang chuckled. Soon after, he spoke in a manner that hinted at a deeper meaning, "He has met the Ice Master." Bang! An extremely terrifying aura suddenly swept out from within the body of the Darkness Master. A wild joy that could not be concealed surged onto the face that had all along practically been devoid of all emotion. Fire seemed to burn in her eyes as she stared at Lin Dong and asked in a quivering voice, "Junior Sister's reincarnation is a success?" Lin Dong could not help but bitterly smile when he saw the delighted Darkness Master. Just what the hell was this? He would have a headache each time he recalled that Ying Huan was the reincarnation of the Ice Master, yet these people seemed to be about to die from happiness after hearing this news. Not only has her reincarnation succeeded, but the current Ice Master is his little girlfriend. Yan laughed in a strange manner. The Darkness Master was taken aback. Surprise surfaced on her face as she involuntarily laughed. Her eyes contained some unknown emotion as she stared at Lin Dong and asked, "The Junior Sister, who was formerly as cold as a 10,000-year-old ice mountain, actually has someone she fancies?" Correction. She is called Ying Huan, not Ice Master. Lin Dong spoke in a somewhat powerless manner. Who on earth would have feelings towards that Ice Master? Ying Huan, not a bad name. However, the Darkness Master paused before continuing, "She will sooner or later become the Ice Master." The expression in Lin Dong's eyes seemed to turn sharp for a split second. However, it quickly disappeared and he became silent. "Forget it, let's not talk about this. Our purpose in coming here is to resolve the problem of the devil-suppressing prison." Yang smiled as he changed the topic. "You are now able to control the devil-suppressing prison, right?" The Darkness Master nodded. Those black eyes contained an icy fierceness as she stared at the huge devil-suppressing prison before her and said, "Although I have only recently awakened, a majority of the million Yimo sealed here have already been purified and only some of the more powerful ones remain. However, they will soon be completely eliminated." A million Yimo. Lin Dong felt his scalp become a little numb upon hearing this number. As expected of the place where the largest number of Yimo were sealed. I will repair the leak in the devil-suppressing prison. However, both of you will have to resolve the Yimo-chi that has already seeped out above, as I cannot leave the devil-suppressing prison at this time. The Darkness Master said. The Yimo-chi above is relatively frightening. Yang helplessly said. Currently, Lin Dong was merely at the initial profound death stage, and Yang had yet to completely recover either. The latter's ability was still greatly restricted. Where has your courage from back then gone to? The Darkness Master ridiculed. All of you have been laying in slumber under the protection of the Devouring Master until now. Naturally, you have not lost any strength. Yang frowned. Soon after, he paused because he saw the expression of the Darkness Master dim. Finally, he sighed and became quiet. Lin Dong did not speak when he saw this. He was already aware that the Devouring Master back then had also ignited his reincarnation to obtain the remaining power to protect the other 6 slumbering masters. The silence continued for a while before the Darkness Master was the first to recover. She glanced at Lin Dong, and with a clench of her hand, 5 fist-sized crystal beads that seemed to contain darkness appeared. This is the Darkness Devil-suppressing bead. It is something I left behind back then. With it, you should be able to resolve the demonic aura that had seeped out. Lin Dong looked at the 5 black crystal balls that were flying towards him and carefully caught them. His eyes narrowed when he did so. It was possible for him to detect a relatively terrifying energy ripple from the 5 black crystal beads. Even a samsara stage expert would suffer if he was struck by it. As expected of the Darkness Master, Lin Dong sighed in his heart. This was really generous. You should leave first. I am about to seal the devil-suppressing prison. I should be completely awakened when we next meet. The Darkness Master waved her hand, directly chasing them away. Lin Dong glanced at Yang and saw the latter nod. Without any delay, he cupped his hands together towards the Darkness Master, kept the Darkness Devil-suppressing beads, turned around and left. Yang followed upon seeing this. However, a voice that only he could hear was transmitted into his ears when he turned around. Yang, I hope that you will help us in future. You should know that the world war is not over. Yang's body paused, but he did not reply. His body moved again and caught up with Lin Dong in front. After which, he entered the latter's body. The Darkness Master sat on the throne and quietly watched Lin Dong disappear into the distance. Traces of zealousness surged in her eyes as she gently tightened her fists and muttered. Junior sister, you can be rest assured, we will allow you to catch up to Master's level. This is because only you can do it. This episode ends here.